Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video after a long time. समस्तों स्वागत एक new video को. It's been a long time since we have made the last video. So today we are going to start the chapter number 1 of class 9 mathematics. Class 9 mathematics chapter number 1, which is number system. Let us start with the number system. So let us first discuss what are the topics which shall be discussed in this chapter. को topics we discuss करिया. Let's have a look on that. First of all, we would have the introduction of the number system. As we all know that in the earlier classes we have learnt about the number lines and how to represent the various types of numbers on it, be it a proper fraction or an improper fraction. Whatever the number or whatever kind of the number, we can easily represent that number on the number line. Basically, so number line is a normal line where the numbers are located on this. So if we start counting, or if we start going from the origin, from the 0 here, from here in this figure 1.2, like the girl is walking towards the right hand side of our screen or of our book or of our page, then we would see that the point from which the girl starts her walking is marked as 0. जो point ru girl ba झियोटी start करुचे walking सेटा होचे 0. Then if we go towards the right, then we would have all the positive numbers, and if we move towards the left, we would have all the negative numbers located or represented on the number line. Okay, so after that we would have a proper discussion on different types of numbers. Since we are going to discuss the number systems, that means all the different types of numbers will be discussed right now. So first of all, we will be starting with all the natural numbers. Basically natural numbers are otherwise known as counting numbers. So why do we say this as counting numbers? Because natural or counting numbers, whenever we start counting, we start from 1, and starting from 1 2 3 4 just like up to infinity, right? It doesn't end, it doesn't have any end, right? And since the natural number, it starts with capital N, so the whole set of natural numbers is denoted by capital N, right? So if we denote it like this, then so N starts from natural, or the first letter of natural number is capital N. Clear? Now let's move towards the next kind of numbers, next set of numbers, which is basically the whole numbers, right? So whole numbers is basically is a group which represents all the natural numbers or all the counting numbers. सब जगह counting numbers रहे along with the 0. That means if we define the set of whole numbers, then it would be all the counting numbers whenever added together with 0 or grouped with 0, they form the whole number, set of whole numbers, and it is denoted as capital W, and the natural numbers are denoted by capital N. Now let's move to the next one interesting one, right? It is known as the integers. So what are the integers? First of all, let us understand the integers. What are integers? Basically all the positive, and all the negative, right? All the positive numbers and the negative numbers along with the 0. All the positive counting numbers and the negative counting numbers along with 0, all of these three sets form what? Form integers. And integers are basically denoted by G or Z, whatever you say. So basically it should have been like integers would have been represented by I, but instead it is represented by Z or G. Why it is represented as Z? Because Z comes from a German word which we can see here, that German word Zahlen. Zahlen means to count, right? So Zahlen माने होची count करिया सो जर्मन ओरिजिन रो आसी इंग्लिश रे तार मीनिंग होची टू काउंट करबा दैट्स व्हाई इंटीजर्स को डिनोट करा है कैपिटल Z और G द्वारा सो व्हाट आर द कंटेंट्स ऑफ द सेट ऑफ इंटीजर्स और G ऑल द नेगेटिव counting numbers up to 0 and along with all the positive counting numbers up to plus infinity, right? Negative infinity to 0 and positive infinity jai, right? Is that clear? Now let's move towards all of these things are discussed in previous classes सब जगह पूर्व classes रे discussion है so that हमें detail रे discuss आउ करने. Now the most important thing which was discussed in class 8 itself जोटा कि class 8 रे discuss इतला rational numbers. So rational numbers के we basically know that rational numbers any number which can be represented in the form of p by q where p and q are integers. But there was a condition or there is a condition that q can never be equal to 0. Q can never be equal to 0. This is the most important thing. So q जगह रे 0 पुट कर परिवानी बाकी को भी इंटीजर्स को हमें p और q जगह रे पुट कर परिवा बार लिख परिवा, right? One more thing, and p by q is the form in which any rational number or any number which can be represented would be called as a rational number. So rational number को को लेटर रे डिनोट करिया ना rational number को q लेटर रे डिनोट करा जाए. So q could actually it should have been r because the rational number starts with capital R. So q कहीं की represent करा होची बाकी represent करची because p by q form रे किसी भी number जदि रहुची or any number which is in the form of p upon q or p by q that is basically a ratio or that is basically a process of division. So wherever we divide something with something we find any quotient, right? So we find a quotient. So quotient word comes starts with capital Q. That's why rational numbers also start with Q. Along with this rational numbers are done and let's move towards the final definition of the rational numbers. So it says when we say that p by q is a rational number or when we represent p by q on the number line we assume that q is not equal to 0 and that p and q have no common factors other than 1, that is p and q are co-prime. So on the number line among the infinitely many fractions equivalent to 1 by 2 we'll choose 1 by 2 to represent all of them. That means it says that p by q form रे तो कोई भी नंबर को हमें लिखिले सी जदि रेशनल नंबर है जीवो ताले हमें डिफाइन केमती करिया रेशनल नंबर को. द फाइनल डेफिनेशन इज दैट देयर इज अ कंडीशन जोटा कि क्लास 8 रे पढ़ाई नथिला p and q ये होचंती रेशनल नंबर्स ये होचंती इंटीजर्स रो पार्ट और p और q रो कंडीशन होची या कि q इज नॉट इक्वल टू 0 along with that ता सहित p and q, right, these two numbers must be or these are co-prime numbers. These are co-primes. अच्छा what is basically the meaning of co-primes? Co-primes माने होची कि तंकर केही भी p and q have no common factor other than 1 except 1 p and q have no common factors. p और q रो 1 छड़ा आउ केही भी common factors नथिबे. Clear? Along with this we shall be heading or we will be heading towards the example number 1. Are the following statements true or false? Give reasons for your answer. The first one is every whole number is a natural number. This would be false. This would be false because every whole number is not a natural number because 0 is not a natural number but all the natural numbers are whole numbers. So this would be false. Here is the answer of solution given. You can follow up there. The second one, every integer is a rational number, right? Yes, it is true because integer, the group of integer comes under the set of or the group of rational numbers, right? The third one, every rational number is an integer. No, definitely or surely not because every rational number cannot be an integer because all the integers are said to be rational numbers, right? But if I say 2.3 or 23 by 16, that is not an integer, right? That is a rational number, but that is not an integer. Like this, if I say 2 upon 3, this is a rational number because p by q form re achi and these are integers. But this is a rational number, but this cannot be an integer. That is why all the rational numbers or every rational number is an integer. It's a false statement or wrong statement, right? Next, we will be having example number 2. Find 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2, right? Find 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2. In order to understand this, we will have two different processes. I will tell you, तुमको दीटा अलग अलग processes रे बुझेबी. Whichever you like or find easier, then you should follow that process, right? जोटा easy लगे सेटा करियो, right? Let's have it. So to find 5 rational numbers between 1 and 2, the first method हमें देखिए first method रे केमती करियो ना. The process is, I am explaining it to you. The process is that we would be having the sum of both the numbers 1 and 2, and then we would be multiplying that sum with 1 by 2, or basically we would be multiplying with the number with 1 by 2 or half. So first method कुछ ये कि directly जो दीटा नंबर गिवन अच्छी से दीटा नंबर को ऐड करी तधरे 1 by 2 मल्टीप्लाई कर दा. The process is that first number we would be having the first rational number between 1 and 2 is 1 by 2 whole into 1 plus 2. Clear? It will be 1 by 2 into 3. So basically this is 3 by 2. Clear? The second number is that 1 by 2. So एबे कौन करिबा, in between or out of these two, either of these two we will be having or we will be taking any one of these numbers, right? I dita vitru gote number naba, and then the new number that we would have got taku nei jiba, right? So simply 1 by 2 into, so 1 or 2 vitru kichi bhi you can keep any one of these. 1 rakhi daba plus 3 by 2 rakhi daba. Just replace the second number or the first number with the new number. Simply 1 by 2 whole into 2, this is 2 plus 3, 5 by 2, this is 5 by 4. Clear? This is the second number. Acha, what would be the third number? The third number would be 1 by 2 whole into, then you keep simply that 1, you keep that 1 plus 5 by 4, right? This is 1 by 2 into 4 plus 5, this is 9 by 4, this is 9 by 8, right? And next the fourth number, like similarly keeping 1 and multiplying 1 by 2, replace 5 by 4 with 9 by 8. Simply the fourth number ta केमती define करियो, 5 by 4 को 9 by 8 रे replace कर दो. That means next number ta हो 1 by 2 into 1 plus 9 by 8. Clear? And then fifth number would be 1 by 2 into same 1 रखिकी 9 is जो नुआ number टा तमे form करते हो पाइते हो सेटा को simply put कर दो, then we would have the next one, right? This is very simple process, right? So you can choose this one. And let's have the second method, right? The another or the alternative method will be like this. So second method is that in between 1 and 2, first time 1 को और 2 को तर equivalent fraction हिसाब रे equivalent rational number हिसाब रे बात करी देखिए. So usually हमको we have to find out 5 such numbers in between them. So 1 को हम एमती लिख परिवा कि this is 1 by 1. We could write 1 by 1. So we can multiply, right? We can multiply 20 with this. If you multiply 20 with the denominator, so we have to multiply it with what? Same 20. So this is 1 into 20 would be 20 by 20, right? Then the same thing can be done. This is 2 by 1. We can multiply, right? We have to bring the denominators into the same thing or into the same number. That means denominator को सेम करियर है. सो इक्विवेलेंट फ्रैक्शन बाय इक्विवेलेंट रेशनल नंबर है सेम जिनसे हमको ये 20 मल्टीप्लाई कर ले सेम numerator भी 20 multiply करे पड़े, so this would be 40 upon 20. So now we can have 20 by 20, denominator same hela, and here 40 by 20. Now we can find as such many numbers we would want in between these two numbers. So 20 by 20 is 1, 40 by 20 is 2. Now you can find any such number. So 20 by 20 is basically less than 21 by 20. Let's say 25 by 20. Let's say 30 by 20, right? Let's say 31 by 20, right? Let's say 34 by 20. Now we have found out this one as 21 by 20, 25 by 20, 30 by 20, 31 by 20, 34 by 20, right? These are 5 rational numbers in between 40 by 20. That means this is 2 and this is 1. It a 1, it a 2. Clear? We have got 5 such numbers. So any one of these processes, any one of these methods, anything suits you, anything you like easier, you can follow that with no problem, right? Kichi problem nahi, jota easy lagyo seta follow kariyo. Clear? Got it? Okay. So along with that, by doing this one, what do we get from here? What did we get basically? I am con through from solving the example number 2 or by finding 5 such rational numbers in between 1 and 2. We got to know that there are infinitely many rational numbers between any two given rational number. That means any given two given numbers, in between any given two numbers you can find infinitely many numbers. That means तम इच्छा हिसाब रे जिते इच्छा तम सेते numbers को भी दीटा given rational numbers भितरे find out obtain करि परिबो, right? ए दीटा मेथड रो को भी मेथड फॉलो करिके कर परिबो, right? Along with this we are moving towards the irrational numbers. That means irrational numbers, what are called the irrational numbers? Irrational numbers are those numbers basically which cannot be written or which cannot be represented in the form of p by q. That means any such number which cannot be represented in the form of p by q, or even if you represent that in the form of p by q, but p and q must not be integers, may not be from the group of integers. P by Q form रे तमे लिखिला परे भी, if you find that P and Q, right, P by Q form रे in fact तमे लिखि देला, right? In fact तमे लिखि देला P by Q form रे, but P और Q यदि integers न हेथिबे, right? For example, if I tell you that root 2 by 3, right? Let's say if I tell you root 7 upon 4. So it is p by q form. There is a numerator and denominator. Here is also we have, here also we have got a numerator and denominator. But the fact is that root 2 is not a rational. Root 2 is not an integer. So does root 7. Root 2 भी गोटे integer में, root 7 भी गोटे integer में. So this is the concept of irrational numbers, right? So irrational numbers रा टिके history विषय रे देखिवा. Basically the Pythagoreans in Greece, right? Pythagoreans are the followers of the famous mathematician or philosopher Pythagoras, right? So there was a Greek philosopher. So Pythagoreans, जो माने Greek people, those who were following Pythagoras, a very famous mathematician and philosopher. So Pythagoreans were the first ones to discover the number which were not rational. That means Pythagoreans माने ही discover करथिले जो माने rational numbers नुहंती से numbers गुड़ा को around 400 BC. That means around near about today is 2025. So 2425. That means 2400 years ago from today. आज पाखापाखि 2400 years ago Pythagoreans माने होचंती जो लोक माने फॉलो करंती Pythagoras को, right? So these numbers are called irrational numbers, or normally irrationals, because they cannot be written in the form of a ratio of integers, right? Integers का ratio form रे, ratio means p by q form रे, or p is to q form रे लिखिया हुआ है. So there are many myths surrounding the discovery of irrational numbers by the Pythagorean. हिपोकास ऑफ क्रोटन राइट बहुत एमती सब मिथ्स अच्छी मिथ्स माने गुजब सब अच्छी बा मिछ कथा सत कथा ये सब मिथ रे हिपोकास हैज एन अनफॉर्चुनेट एंड either for discovering that root 2 is irrational or for disclosing the secret about root 2 to people outside the secret Pythagorean section right so hippocrates करो जो discovery टा सेटा ही भारी गोटे मैंने भाविन्य गोटे अनफॉर्चुनेट एंड थिला जे लोकों को सी डिस्कवर करते रूट टू गोटे इरेशनल नंबर बोली जन सी राइट सो जहाँ भी हो ये सब डिस्क्लोजर बा ये सब डिस्कवरी or we can say that invention भितर आम जानले जे Pythagoreans were the first people who discovered or who basically told disclosed for the first time in the history that there are the existences of irrational numbers अच्छी बोली से माने कहते so we can define the irrational numbers like this and number s is called irrational if it cannot be written in the form of p by q where p and q are integers very simple the same thing right very simple now let's move acha what do we get from here that what is the remark that we got that when we use the symbol this acha what is this symbol is symbol ko kaun kaiba if you know that this symbol is known as the radical right this symbol is known as radical जोटा को हमें class 8 रे detail रे पढ़ी सब right okay so this is basically the symbol the radical symbol we assume that it is the positive square root of number so root 4 is equal to root 2 right so though both 2 and minus 2 are the square roots of 4 so हमें इधर कौन जान ले जो irrational numbers कथा तो अलग कथा है जो radical use करते हैं कोई भी कोटे number let's say root 9 use कर ले that means so this would be the possible answer could be plus 3 or minus 3 right because if we do minus 3 square it would be 9 and also plus 3 square it would also be equal to 9 so square root of 9 is equal to 3 or minus 3 or in detail or in short we can write plus or minus 3 clear we know this right okay let's have it after getting discussed or after getting the discussion or disclosure of the irrational numbers now we got to know that irrational and rational numbers are a part of another group a larger group which is known as the real numbers right this is what the real numbers so real numbers are basically subdivided or divided into two groups one is the rationals right and the another group is basically the irrationals so now we have got a clear thought clear idea about what we were reading हम कौन पढ़ुले तार गोटे आइडिया मिलला कि रियल नंबर्स के सो रियल नंबर्स होचंदी से सब जगह नंबर्स जे रेशनल और इरेशनल्स दैट मींस रियल नंबर होची द लार्जर ग्रुप व्हिच कंटेन्स all the rationals and irrational number together so एबे देखिए सो रियल नंबर विषय रे भी को मैथमेटिशियन हमको आइडिया देथिले सो व्हाट इज रियल नंबर फर्स्ट देखिबा एंड बेसिकली रियल नंबर्स को वी डिनोट एज r कैपिटल R right real numbers are known as capital R so we read this every real number every real number is represented by a unique point on the number line also every point on the number line represents a unique real number this is why we call the number line the real number line right acha ei concept ko tikke bujiba so what does this say this says that every real number right every real number is every real number is represented by basically by a unique point on the number line assume that this is the number line right this is the number line assume करिया एटा होची number line टा and को भी गोटे पॉइंट आमे नै जिया लेट्स से दिस इज 0 राइट एपटे त पॉजिटिव नंबर्स सब रहले एंड एपटे सब नेगेटिव नंबर्स रहले सो को भी पॉइंट रैंडमली तमे को भी पॉइंट गोटे चूज कर रिप्रेजेंट डिनोट कर को भी गोटे पॉइंट मार्क कर नंबर लाइन रे दैट रिप्रेजेंट्स ए यूनिक रियल number that means से नंबरटा ए पॉइंट रे ए यूनिक गोटे स्पेशल गोटे यूनिक रियल नंबर अच्छे को भी पॉइंट तुम चूज करे से गोटे रियल नंबर थी राइट दिस इज व्हाट we know about this. That means that also every point on the number line represents a unique real number. That is why this number line ये जो number line टा अच्छी ये number line को we call this number line as real number line because every number on this number line represents a unique real number. ये नंबर लाइन रे सब को भी पॉइंट तमे निया से गोटे यूनिक रियल नंबर को रिप्रेजेंट करूछ राइट दैट इज व्हाई वी कॉल दिस नंबर लाइन एज रियल नंबर लाइन राइट ओके along with this we shall be winding up this video and in the next video we will be having the concepts related before that we would have a different thing another thing that who gave us the idea of these number lines there were two scientists mathematician or German mathematician in fact one was George Cantor anka vishare class 10 re padhiba right baki astundi are dead kind right these were two mathematicians these mathematicians showed us that corresponding to every real number there is a point on the real number line and corresponding to every point on the number line there exists a unique real number ये जो concept है ये दी जन mathematicians हमको provide करते वा conclude करते right along with this right let's wind up this video and in the next video we will be having the rest concepts completed okay see you in the next video. One important announcement I am doing here that after completing all the concepts after understanding all the concepts then we will move to the exercise questions right I mean first concepts and examples let it be 2 or 3 videos re complete kar dava and then we will be having another dedicated 2 or 3 videos for the exercise ko bit by bit NCERT ra every number we will be solving right in other videos so देखिए in total there would be 4 to 5 videos in total I think let's see okay so see you.